Hi, David F&B Railroad. This episode we're going to continue on with landscaping. We're going to put some plaster on and form some rocks. Then we're going to paint the rocks using watercolors. And then after that we are going to put some brown latex paint on the layout to color up all that Sculptamold. And then after that I will be painting my railroad ties and then painting my rails. So let's get into it and see how I do it. Okay, what you can see here is I've already done some rocks there to the left where I've put on some plaster and then carved at it with my little knife. What you'll see next is me putting some plaster in. And this is just plaster I got at Home Depot. Mix it up and I just smear it in place where I need to put it. Once I get this all smeared in where I like it, and then I let it set up, and as it sets up you'll see I come back in and I start carving lines into it, and then I let it set some more and it hardens up even more, and then as I carve, little chips and pieces will come off. So yeah, this is how I did these rocks. I got this idea from watching one of my other viewers that watches my channel, and I decided I'd give it a try. So yeah, this is how I put these rocks in. Just watch as I smear on the plaster of Paris and then come back and carve away. And there's no wrong way of doing this. So I'm just trying to get it on there so I have a thick enough coat to carve into and make the rocks look the way they did. Now here I'm adding a little bit more plaster to the left hand side to extend these rocks up. I guess I felt I wanted them to come up a little bit higher, fill in more around the bridge abutment. I'm also doing this while I'm waiting for the right side to set up a little bit more so I can carve at it a little bit further. So just watch as I play with my plaster of Paris. Now here you can see that the plaster is set up, and as I carve at it, it starts dropping off little chips and pieces, breaking it up so that it looks a little bit more like rocks as I'm carving away. And this is what I was looking for. I was looking for that broken up kind of situation, and I had the styrofoam set in like steps so that it would step back, and this is what I was hoping for. In case anybody's interested, the tool I'm using is a painter's palette knife. I picked it up at Hobby Lobby in the paint department, and it works very well as a spatula for carving and putting on the plaster of Paris. And here's some more areas that I've been working on, building up my rocks and going to town, having a fun time making rocks. Next, I came in with a very stiff nylon brush and brushed away all the chips from the carving, all the loose chips up in the carving to make sure there was nothing in the way for when I go to paint it, and then I went through and vacuumed it up. Now you'll see here I came in with some watercolors. I had some gray as a base color, and then I stained them with the watercolors per se. Then I came in with some burnt sienna or raw sienna, and then I came in with some yellow ochre and spotted that in places here and there to color the rocks, to give the variation of colors in the rock. Now I come in with some India ink and 70% isopropyl alcohol and just cover the whole thing, let it run all down in through the cracks, bring out all the cracks and whatnot in the carving, and then moved on to the next step, which was wiping it down with a paper towel to get all the excess off. Now the next thing I do is I come in with some white, acrylic white paints and do some dry brushing. I dip my brush in the white paint and then wipe it off on a post-it note to get most of the paint off of the brush, very soft brush. And then I go in and just touch the edges to bring out some highlights in the rock carving. On this rock carving, I decided to put a little bit more white on the rock to try and blend it in with the existing layout so that it would match a little bit better and then blend off into the rocks, the new rocks that I have now. And to try and blend these rocks even more, I got out some gray paint. I believe this was watercolor as well, and went in and painted a few things a little bit darker gray. And then after that I went in with the Indian ink wash and washed things down to darken it up a little more, and then after that I went back in with my white and started doing some highlights. Now moving on, I take out some brown paint that I went to Home Depot and asked them if they had any returns, and they did, and I got it for a substantially lower price than what it was. And I just used, it didn't matter to me, any color brown was brown, so I just used that and started covering up the sculptor mold. Now here I decided to paint my railroad ties a little bit darker brown. You don't notice the color too much in the video, but to see the track you can tell that they've been painted brown. And I do this to all my ties. They all become the same, and then I can go back later with chalks or pastels and touch up individual ties to make them variated and different. Can't forget about the connecting piece that connects the two tracks together. So here I am painting my ties this brown so that everything will match. Now I'm coming in and painting the sides of my rails with a rust color. I found this Tester's Rust, it's called, and I like it. I used it for all my rails on the first part of the layout, and that's what I am doing here. This takes a little bit of time. You got to be a little bit fussy not to make a big mess out of it, but the effect when it is done is so nice. I really do like this part. It adds a nice touch to the layout. Just have to paint the sides and then wipe off the top of the rail. Keep it clean. All right, that's it for this episode. I think everything went well. I got my rocks formed and painted. I got the brown down for the landscaping base, and I painted my ties and rails. Everything looked good. I really do appreciate you all for coming and watching these videos. I can't say enough for the people that support my channel, watch my videos. I don't have any PayPal or anything, so just you guys watching is what keeps this going. And feel free to subscribe. Hit the bell to get more notifications of when I upload new videos. Leave a comment. Let me know how I did or didn't do. Good or bad, doesn't matter. And if you really like it, share it with your friends. And keep on modeling.